Welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. We just finished the game between PSG and Manchester City. One half belonged to PSG, the second half belonged to Man City. They've turned it around, and now they have the advantage going into the second leg. I think both teams, even Chelsea, have the advantage as well after their match against Madrid. I have with me Zayan. How are you doing, man?
I'm very good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Initial thoughts on the game. I felt that PSG dominated that first half. They had chances. They could have put in a few goals apart from that goal that they scored. But then second half, man, suddenly City turning it around. That false nine, which we thought wouldn't was not working, suddenly it started working.
Yeah, I think the first half I was, I felt PSG could have got at least another one. And then even after halftime, the early part of the second half, even though City had possession, I don't think they did enough with it.
Yeah.
And, you know, for them, I mean, they just need a bit of luck. And I think that De Bruyne goal was a bit of a fluke. Even he'll admit that.
Yeah.
And I think after that point, PSG's motivation and drive, I think it just fell. Uh, I don't think if they were fully focused, they would have let that Mahrez free kick go in as well. So even though, as you said, the false nine system didn't really work with City, I think the two goals they got didn't really come from open play.
Yeah.
So I mean, it worked out for them in the end. I was thinking, I think they need a poacher in there, Jesus or an Aguero. But I guess in the end, it worked out for Man City.
Yeah, it did work out for Man City, and now they're clear favorites. It's not so much going to Etihad and playing because there's no fans there, but the problem is the weight of those two away goals. Right now, that's what PSG will have to play with. But do you think they can turn it around there if they are capable? They do have the players, but what are your thoughts? Because City will also know that they have the advantage, and they won't want to screw it up this time.
I think if the game, ended with 11 men, I think, you know, I think Idrissa Gueye, the defensive midfielder, I think he's going to be a huge miss. But because it's a Champions League semi-final, and I think PSG do have that drive, they
Hmm.
do have those players who've won a lot in the past. I think they will have that motivation that we can turn it around. We've beaten the likes of Bayern, and obviously they went to the final last season. So I
Hmm.
think I think they're still in the tie, and City might it'll be interesting to see how they approach the game. Will they go defensive? Will they want to put the icing on the cake in the second leg? So I mean, it's all to play for, in my opinion.
What do you think City did differently so far this season compared to last season? Like we saw them, they beat Dortmund, and now again, is it more of the formation that they're playing with the false nine? Is it Kevin De Bruyne playing at his best? Also, the likes of Diaz and Stones being very solid. What do you think is the difference like this season, and especially to turn around a game like that? I think it shows a lot of character.
Yeah, I think I think two or three times they got knocked out in the quarterfinals
Yeah, quite a
when
bit.
since Guardiola came in, and
Yeah,
and of course they had that disappointment in the league last season. They had injuries to several players, and I think in the summer it was do or die for Guardiola,
hmm.
and he got Nathan Ake, and I think he played really badly in one of the opening games. I think it was against Leicester, where they lost 5-2, and immediately after that game they went and got Ruben Diaz, who was making a name for himself at Benfica.
Hmm.
I think that is a huge factor, and Diaz is, even though he's young, I think he has that natural ability and leadership he brings, which has also empowered other players like John
100%.
Stones, and you have players like Laporte who are struggling to get a game. So I think Diaz is a huge factor, and then I also think that Guardiola has set his priorities straight. I think before, when he didn't approach the Champions League games well, I think he always made like a tactical mistake,
Hmm.
or he didn't have the luck on his side. But I think things are going well for them because he streaked a few things, and I think they deserve that luck in this game against PSG.
Your thoughts on Mbappe and Neymar this game? The like two big players, of course, we're going to talk about them. So, what did you think? How did they play for you? First half they looked good. Second half they tapered off. I think City really handled Mbappe really well.
Yeah, I think Mbappe. I think I just wanted to speak about the game against Bayern, where
Hmm.
Bayern like dominated the entire game against PSG, both the legs, and these two, they were like up front and they were doing really well on the counter. But since City have that possession based game, they knew exactly how to deal with these kinds of counterattacks. And obviously, once they had an advantage in terms of taking the lead, or even after equalizing, they knew that PSG had to attack rather than counter attack, which benefited City, which is why we didn't see much of Mbappe. I think he could have done better in some situations, but I think first half, especially Neymar, was brilliant.
Yeah, he was really good. It's just with Neymar is that final product, the finishing product, basically. I think Di Maria
Yeah,
also made some nice runs. He looked good. He cut two defenders. That's a really good move. And yeah, just I think if they can be consistent in the next leg, show a bit more of that first half kind of brilliance, they do
yeah.
have a chance. Because if it's a 2-0 win, then what do you call it? PSG go through, and if it's 2-1, it goes to extra time. And you always back a team like that, even though it's good. They're up against the wall, but no fans. I think that will really help PSG going to this leg. And for you, the player of the match?
Um, I mean, it's pretty hard because I think the game was pretty tactical. There
Hmm.
weren't any standout performances. Obviously, it was a game of two halves. But I think special mention to Foden. I think he was pretty good
He
whenever
had
he
an
had the
amazing
ball.
chance in the first half, though, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He had a few openings. I think for me, Maris. I don't know. I
Mahrez.
just feel like not only the goal but some of his general play. I
You
think
think
there
the
was
goal
the
took them by surprise? Like everyone thought De Bruyne's gonna take it, and suddenly
yeah,
bang, he
yeah.
came in. Yeah, it
I
took them by
think so
surprise.
as well. And I had my brother next to me, my younger brother, and he's like, "Oh, De Bruyne's going top right or something," and then
yeah,
Mars just comes up, and so even PSG weren't aware of it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so I
At the
think
same time.
it's not only the goal. I think Mahrez's general play. He gave a really hard time to the left back of PSG. I think his name is Bakar.
Hmm.
So I think he had a hard time. So I think Mahrez. I think he's my man of the match.
Mahrez, your man of the match, and now, like you're saying, PSG probably still have a chance. They're still all to play for in the second leg. It's not all over, even though it's a huge advantage for City in terms of the goals, winning 2-1. But they've shown that they can also concede, and it'll be very interesting to see how PSG approach this, because they need to be more consistent, I feel, and put constant pressure. And just quickly about your game versus Real Madrid. First half was nice to watch, but I kind of fell asleep in the second half. But a really good result for Chelsea.
I mean, you fell asleep. I was so nervous, especially in the second half. Uh, Even that game, I think the goals changed the games. Like when the I guess, opening 25 minutes, Chelsea were, tearing Real
Dominant.
Madrid apart. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
dominating. And I think Zidane made a mistake in going to a three at the back. I don't think it suits Madrid in general. And I think just changing it up for one particular game, I think it didn't suit them at all.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were prepared for what kind of threat Chelsea had, and I
Hmm.
think Chelsea should have had at least two goals. I don't want to talk about the chances. You might know how I feel about them, but
Yeah.
well taken goal from Pulisic, and then from a corner, Benzema. You have to give credit to him. I don't
Yeah. What a
think the
goal, man.
defense. I don't think the defense could have done much, to be honest. And I think second half. I think it was a very midfield kind of battle.
Hmm.
It was Kante, Mount, and Jorginho against Kroos, Casemiro, and Modric. But I think Zidane, he changed things up. I think he made Casemiro sit a bit more, which benefited Real Madrid. And towards the end of the game, I think they are the ones who looked more likely to score. But as a Chelsea fan, in my point of view, I think it's a good result, a 1-1.
Yeah, if I told you before the game you're gonna get an away goal and you're gonna tie the game, I think you would have taken it going into Stamford Bridge. Again, there's no fans, but it's just that one goal. The weightage it is there, and I think Chelsea have shown in the past that the defense has been stronger since Tuchel has come. So I think getting a goal past them as well, even one goal might be difficult for Real Madrid. But then again, Benzema, man, his
Yeah,
brilliance we saw yesterday. Again, one moment of brilliance, and he changed the leg kind of, because 1-0 would have been completely different going into this leg.
yeah.
1-1 giving Madrid some hope. Your thoughts on Timo Werner? Does he frustrate you, or like you're okay with the?
Look, I feel like he does a lot. He reminds me of a bit of Torres, not only for his misses, but I feel like Torres's general play when he came to Chelsea, especially under Rafa Benitez and under Mourinho. I think his general play was really underrated. He linked up really well with the midfield. He obviously he didn't score as much, but I think Werner in a similar mold. What he does off the ball is important to Chelsea's attack, even though we
But do
don't
you
score
think
many goals.
the do you think sorry to cut you off there, but do you think the performances of both those players, Torres and Werner, in their previous teams before coming to Chelsea, banging in goals left and center, does that change the perception of fans and like pundits and everyone? Because you're expecting Torres to score every game. Like in Liverpool, he was banging goals left, right, and center. He was tearing up the likes of Vidic, Ferdinand. Werner was tearing up the Champions League and the German league. So that's what I was going to ask you. Is it the expectations, and then now they come here with Chelsea? They're doing off the ball, they're doing a good job, but they're not scoring the goals which we
Yeah,
saw before.
yeah. I think Werner really needs to find his finishing boots. I think for any club, even you can relate. I think when you see your striker score, there's a different kind of pleasure.
Yeah, 100%. You can
And
see
you
the
want to
difference between a Cavani and a Martial to a certain extent, just in terms of finishing. I'm saying.
exactly. And people don't look at the general play. Obviously, as a fan, you want to be a little bit more sympathetic or cynical at times. So you kind of look at the general play. But for other people, it's more about we paid 50 odd million for you. Can you get the goals for them?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the striker's job is to score goals, or at least get assists. But see, I mean, he's had decent goal contributions this season. But if I was to be honest, I think he's been a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that as well. And just to wrap up, right now it looks like both English teams are on the charge to go to the finals. It might be an all-English final, but we know not to make assumptions too early. Last few years have been crazy in the Champions League in terms
Yeah.
of comebacks. But if you do go through, who would you rather face, PSG or Man City?
I was
If Chelsea go through.
honestly, I was honestly thinking, I don't know who I would rather face. If you ask me, I think we have more of a chance of beating Man City because obviously in the
You
FA
beat them
Cup
already.
semi, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean we did beat them, and I think over the last few seasons, even though they've beat us in most games, there were some games where when the manager and the team were prepared, they just knew how to shackle them. And I think PSG, a few seasons ago, they've beat us in the round of 16 twice. And honestly, it's been very frustrating. I always wanted to get back at them for that. But I think they'll be more of a threat in the final because, we can play our possession-based football in the final as well. But can the likes of Aspilicueta or, an aging Thiago Silva keep up with Neymar and Mbappe? So that's kind of a worry for me. I think playing when City play as a false nine against three at the back, it's hard for them to penetrate. So I would rather face Man City if I was to be honest.
Yeah, and also a lot of people have been saying like whoever wins the PSG Man City game will be favorites to win the Champions League, but it won't be that easy because you're coming up either against
Yeah,
Chelsea or Madrid. Madrid have all the experience. Chelsea are also like a tough kind of team to beat this season, and under Tuchel they've been really good. So yeah, and you're welcome. I told you, man, Lampard is not the manager for Chelsea.
yeah.
Tuchel
I
is.
think. Look,
I,
I think.
I, I yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was saying like we were just banter and everything, but I genuinely felt that even for United, like a manager like this who's more experienced does help. And now, like next season, if he doesn't do well, you're gonna come back and tell me, man, look at Tuchel. But already the change that he's done, it's a huge change. So I think credit
Yeah.
to him and your team as well.
Honestly, there seemed a point in the season where we are gonna finish with Arsenal. That's how bad it was becoming. I think last season Lampard did really well, and I have all the respect in the world for him as a player. But last season, what he did as well was, it was amazing. We didn't have Hazard, and all the youth players came in and whatnot. But
Yeah.
this season, when he had a whole new team, the team cohesion wasn't there. I think his tactics weren't as good as they were last season, and I think Lampard's main success last season was actually playing three at the back towards the end of the season, which is how Chelsea finished in the Champions League spots. And Tuchel, he just came in and he done the exact same thing. So
Yeah.
maybe Chelsea is suited to a back three. We saw it under Antonio Conte as well, and obviously Tuchel has a bit more experience, and I think he's a bit more tactically better. So
Yeah,
you
it
know,
proves like
credit to
experience
him.
does help. Yeah,
Exactly, and I
hundred.
and I'm really happy. I didn't think he would do this well. I was pretty confident we can get back in the top four, but I think the solidity he's got back at Chelsea, like there was these last few seasons I had this fear, oh, we're gonna concede now, we're under so much pressure, but whoever comes, it's like we're just so solid at the back. I think the main thing now is can we finish those chances up front?
Yeah, I think that's it. They need to be more clinical. And just lastly, your thoughts on Pochettino? I felt that he started off brilliantly, and it looked like he's gonna give a masterclass. And he has a much better squad than he did with Tottenham when he was facing Guardiola. But I feel that Guardiola actually likes these kind of games more when the team is attacking you and you have a big players in the other team as well. When they're playing somebody like a Dortmund or like a Tottenham, I don't think he enjoys that. I think that Dortmund game was much more tougher for them. That those two legs, but here, even though this was a very close game, I just feel that Guardiola likes teams
Yeah,
attacking him like that. So your thoughts
exactly.
on Pochettino?
So I think I personally think he's a good manager, but I don't think he is. In a way, I feel like it's a bad appointment for PSG. I think people might disagree with that, but he's not proven in the sense that he's not won anything, and there's always an issue. I just want to give an example of Real Madrid, for example, when they had Benitez. He's a good manager and
Yeah,
whatnot, but he couldn't handle such high-profile players.
yeah.
And when Zidane came in, he had that reputation, he had the standard, and that's why they went on these Champions League winning runs. So
Hmm.
I don't know if Pochettino has that level of respect. Even Tuchel in a way, I don't think he had that much command. And you see, PSG is a huge team now, and they have huge players. But I think he does suit them when it comes to understanding the club because he was a player there,
Yeah.
and also being a bit more pragmatic because they have so much attacking prowess, PSG. So it's about that fine balance. But I think he's struggling in League One. I think
Hmm.
Tuchel was doing a better job there
Much better
before he
job.
was sacked. He was top of the league when he got sacked, and now PSG have a title race. So I think that might suggest, oh, they're not doing as well. But you know what, Champions League, uh, even a Di Matteo has won it, even a Sir Alex has won it. Everyone just needs a bit of luck.
You're saying Sir
And
Alex like whatever? He's some small
no,
manager.
no, I'm saying Sir Alex in the sense that, oh, he's a
Yeah,
huge manager,
yeah, yeah. And
and Di
then
Matteo who,
yeah, yeah,
and
I
then
know,
Di
I know.
Matteo he's not had any managerial success. So, at the end of the day, it's all based on luck and how teams approach the game when they score. How do they manage when they
Yeah.
concede? Can they keep their composure? So I don't know if Pochettino he has if he can motivate PSG in that way. But he's a decent appointment. I wouldn't say he's the best appointment.
Hmm. I like
But
him as a manager. I felt like I agree with you there that the PSG has a lot of personalities that he has to handle. But again, I think like he got his tactics right. But the problem was the second half. When Pep was making changes, I think at that time he was happy with the 1-0. It felt like that, but maybe he could have made some changes and made it difficult
yeah.
for and prepared for City's changes basically.
And look, we could have been here talking about a Pochettino masterclass, but
Exactly,
obviously,
exactly. Yeah.
exactly. But the De Bruyne cross it went in, and the
That's
Mahrez
a
free kick. It's a
individual
set
error.
piece.
Yeah, you can't really blame
Exactly.
the manager. Yeah, 100%.
But basically, what defines the best from the good managers from the best managers is how you manage each situation. And
Yeah, good
Guardiola,
point.
in this particular tie, he's obviously a bit more experienced. He's won it all in club football. He's had so many setbacks in recent years. So
Yeah.
I feel like he might have the edge in this tie. But if you're just asking my opinion on Pochettino at PSG, I said what I said.
Yeah, no, 100%. Thank you so much for joining me. Any last thoughts going into the second leg?
Uh, in terms of the PSG game, I think the first goal. I actually on both legs, the first goal is going to make a huge difference. Might sound like a cliche thing, but if PSG score,
Game is
City
on.
they exactly game is on. City won't know whether to defend or get that other goal. And
Yeah.
same thing in the Real Madrid game. Chelsea Real Madrid game. If Chelsea can score, I'm very confident we can keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
with the back three. But if Real Madrid score, can Chelsea score? Because we're not doing as well goal scoring wise. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, last thoughts. I think it's going to be a Man City versus Chelsea final.
Well, all English final.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing. It'll be good because this is like the second tier tournament in Europe. We're gonna have the first year tomorrow, the semifinals in the Europa League, United
yeah,
Arsenal. That's what everyone's looking forward to in
yeah.
Europe. But it'll be crazy if there's both the English finals in the Europa and thing. It happened
Oh wow.
before as well.
Yeah,
Once, remember Liverpool, Spurs,
yeah,
and
yeah. Liverpool, Spurs,
Chelsea
and
versus
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but I haven't seen Ole get past the semi-final yet, so my hopes are not high at all. Everyone's talking about Roma not being as good this season, but these kind of teams. You've been to, I think,
yeah,
Roma, if I'm not
yeah, yeah,
mistaken. You've watched
yeah.
them live and stuff, so these kind of teams. They want games like this. These kind of clubs, they want games like this, and this is where they shine. They don't necessarily have the nerves. They don't have pressure because everyone's expecting United or like an
Exactly.
Arsenal to win. So I think teams like Roma and Villarreal both will cause some problems going into
So
tomorrow.
yeah, I think I just wanted to just have a small say on those games.
It's
I
the
think
biggest game in Europe. You can have as much
yeah,
say as you want.
yeah. So I think Emery has, I think he has the upper hand on Arteta. Like
You
even
think
though
so?
Villarreal, yeah, I think
Th-
even though Villarreal aren't as established as Tottenham, I think the summer signings they made. I remember like some Valencia guys going there, and he's done fairly well in the league, I think. And obviously, Emery was hired at Arsenal because he has that Europa League pedigree,
Success
right?
with
So
Sevilla. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I think Arsenal have been very unimpressive this season. To be honest, they have a similar problem with Chelsea at Chelsea, but I think they're even worse because they set up defensively and they can't score either.
The only
It's
counter I have to that is I think last season they were extremely poor as well, and then they went on to beat City and Chelsea in the FA Cup.
yeah,
That's the only counter I
yeah.
have. Nothing else. They're
I
like
mean
a
they're
cup team, like dangerous.
yeah, yeah. I think FA Cup is like their competition, but I don't know. They don't have any European. I don't even think they have any European winners in the team. I mean David Luiz, but he's kind of old as well, and you can't trust a David Luiz.
Yeah, with Arsenal
I
also, I feel it's about mistakes. Can they,
Yeah,
can they focus on not making those kind of mistakes because they make stupid errors? We saw Leno do it as well. So if they can minimize that, then
yeah.
I think that will think. Abu Bakr is in. He's saying, "Yo, Fraudiola, man." I have no comments on that right now. I'm gonna wait till the. But credit to him, I think credit where it's due. I'm not the biggest Guardiola fan, but I think today he got the tactics spot on, and to win like that, it shows a lot of character. So Abu, I'm gonna eat humble pie for today, but I hope next week PSG turn around. Yeah, Zan, sorry you were saying.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that particular tie, I think Emery has the upper hand, and obviously, as you said, these smaller teams have more of an objective to come on top. I don't think Arsenal have that determination in them. And then the other game, obviously, I have like a connection with Roma because I went to a Champions League game. They beat Shakhtar. That was like an amazing night for me personally, and I mean, I think in the league they're struggling to qualify for
Yeah, they're sixth,
Champions League.
seventh, like that, right? Around
Yeah,
seventh in that
something like
position.
that. And look, I think United are a good team, but every single time they're in the semis, I don't know what happens to them.
Mental block.
And also, I think Roma have more of a reason to win rather than United because, I mean, United, you know what? I think you guys are going to get top four out of all the cups except for the Europa League, of course. And has Ole ever progressed to a semi final? I don't know.
I
He
think
hasn't.
that's the only thing that's why they'll be determined,
Yeah,
to be honest, because he needs a trophy to show something as well, apart from just making it to the top four.
yeah.
I think he did well in the Premier League. And Abu Bakr saying Mkhitaryan to break United hearts, inshallah. Man, and he's saying this in
So
Ramzan as well. I don't know, but it might come true. But Zayan, what I wanted to say is the likes of Mkhitaryan, Dzeko, these guys will want to prove a point as well, and they're not doing that well, to be honest, in the Italian league, in the Serie A.
yeah,
But this is the games, like I said, these are the games they'll probably want to show their skill and win the game.
yeah. And I think one thing for Roma which goes against him is they're not going to have any fans right in the stadium, and that stadium is wild when it's packed, the Stadio
Yeah.
Olimpico. And I think United, I think the best thing they do is counterattack. They are so fast and so clinical on the counter. I don't know if
But in this
and I,
game, do you think they'll have more possession, or will Roma have that possession that which will allow United to counter? Because in some games, like against the lower level clubs, United actually struggle.
I mean, look, I have personally have not watched any Roma games this season, and they have a different manager from last time. Obviously, a different team as well. I think their team is a bit aging. They have Pedro and Dzeko, and I think Kostas Manolos in at the back. So I mean, obviously United will get chances when Roma have possession, but if Roma sit back and contain them, can Roma counter? I mean, I'm not too sure because I don't watch their games personally.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all up in the air. You probably have a better idea about that, but I
Yeah,
mean, for me personally, I
it'll be
don't
the
like.
aerial threat. To be honest, it'll be the aerial
Yeah,
threat, the Jacko, and then getting the balls into the box, Mkhitaryan making some runs here and there.
yeah,
But that's the thing. With United, also the Milan game when they played, it was kind of uncomfortable. It was 1-1, and they went on in Italy and won 1-0. But they could have conceded there as well. With United, it just depends how will Maguire make a mistake or not. He's had some amazing games. He's had some terrible games, him and Lindelof. So it
yeah,
just depends on that. I really feel that if Maguire gets a quick partner like a Bailly or somebody in the market who's fast, he'll actually be a good defender. Not 80 million. I'm not justifying his price, but I
yeah,
think he needs a better partner than
yeah.
Lindelof, because these guys have good games, but they're not consistent.
Exactly. Similar with what happened at Man City, right? You have John Stones, who's a 50 million flop.
Yeah.
Laporte, who was always injured. This guy Ruben Diaz just comes
Yeah,
in and
exactly.
changes the whole dynamic of the
You
team.
got
So,
that.
look, I think in all honesty, I think United and Arsenal are more likely to qualify. But since it's the biggest competition in Europe, as you said, maybe
Yeah.
maybe Villarreal and Roma can
That will
surprise
be a
them.
big slap to the face, especially after both clubs joining the Super League for
Yeah,
a bit. There will be a
yeah.
big slap to the. I think everyone who doesn't support these two clubs will be supporting Roma and things, especially after that Super League debacle. Basically,
I mean, not only Super League, I just don't like either club. So,
yeah, I
uh,
know.
yeah. So, I mean, look, the Super League is a totally different conversation. It was a bad thing. I just wanted to mention that, and I'm really happy that never went
Yeah,
ahead.
we get to see
So
some
I'm
competitive football.
yeah. I mean, look, if there were teams playing each other for 23 years or whatever it was going to be the same teams, like who's going to watch that? Like
Yeah,
me and my brother, we were already discussing which Premier League teams are we going to choose after these guys leave. that's
yeah,
that's how it looked at one point. But
100%.
yeah,
Even me, I had the same view to that, but it's good we don't have it. Last few, Abu Bakr saying will be a shame if United don't get through their favorites. United has too much firepower not to score goals. I agree. It will be a shame,
yeah,
but I'm kind of used to that shame these days. None of my teams are doing well. Hopefully things change. But apart from that, it's good to see some nice football today. I think it was really entertaining,
yeah.
and the way City came back, even though I wanted PSG to win, I'm saying that openly, but it was good to see some character there from City, and hopefully we can see some more exciting football next week and tomorrow as well.
Yeah, hopefully.
Thank you so much, man, for joining me. I'll catch you soon then. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Take care.
All right. Take care. Take care, Abu Bakr, man. Thank you for joining. Take care.